Yeah, baby.
Oh,
It is a Tuesday. Derek Gunn, Rob Ellis hanging out with you post Memorial Day. Sports Take, JAKIB Sports YouTube Network. Hi, Gunner. How are we?
Good, man. How you doing? How you doing, Terminator?
So, if you're wondering, I might take the shades off at some point. But if you're wondering what's going on, you don't see my usual background or any of that kind of stuff, or you might hear a little bit of noise.
Right.
So I am getting my entire roof redone at the house. And for anybody who's experienced that, it sounds like somebody is coming through with a pickaxe, right? Which they are kind of in some ways.
Been there, done that.
Loud, my man. I'm telling you, loud. So I thought, you know what? Better to take the show on the road than risk. It sounded like someone was trying to crash through. So I'm on the road. I am at my friendly neighborhood Panera outside. Now the problem is I've done shows inside before.
Right.
But the inside it's music. It's lunchtime. It's very busy.
Yep.
So I am out amongst the people who think I'm a lunatic right now, speaking the way that I'm speaking. But get used to it, folks. It's going to be 3 hours of this, baby. Yes.
Hey, man, how was your holiday?
Oh man, it was good. I'm gonna take these off. So it was good.
Oh, come on, man, leave them on.
Leave them on. All right, we'll leave them on. We'll rock the whole show with them. There we go. All right. So yeah, it was good. I worked a little bit. I had Saturday off. I actually got out and played a little bit of golf Saturday. Played 9 holes. First time I played golf in a long time. And Maggie went with me, so we went out and golfed. So we both played. It's the first time. It's really like the first time she's ever. I think we tried it once, but she played and she did all right. She didn't do bad. Yeah. So that was good. And yesterday I did the morning show for WIP, but then my buddy had a cookout. So I went over to his place, hung out there for a little bit, and then went home and watched the basketball, man, last night. Great. It was great.
Nice, man. Good. So, Saturday, all the family, kids, grandkids over, and we cooked out, played around in the yard. My son's girlfriend bought this inflatable, and it has a stairs you climb it, slide down, another obstacle, and it comes with these 3 hoses. We didn't attach them because it was cooler in the evening, but when you attach the hoses, it'll spray water like a shower in 3 different spots on it.
Nice.
But the kids were just so happy to be jumping on this inflatable. They didn't care. We did that Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. Sunday, we just chilled out. We didn't grill out or anything. We went out and had like Chinese food and stuff Sunday. And then yesterday, grilled out. And my son-in-law, my oldest daughter's husband, a year ago, he found this game at Dick's Sporting Good called Bottle Bash. You ever played this game?
No, Bottle Bash. I never heard of it.
Bottle Bash. He said he paid like $20 for it. So you get these two skinny poles, and they kind of bounce around, like you stick them in the ground, and you put like a bottle, like a soda bottle, plastic bottle on top of each one. You get one here and one down on the other end, and you play two-man teams, and you have a frisbee, and you try to use the frisbee to knock the bottle off. The stand. If you knock the bottle off, but if we catch it, you get no points. But you knock it off and we can't catch it, you get 3 points. And anytime you throw the frisbee towards the opposition, if they try to catch the frisbee and they drop the frisbee, you get additional point. You play to 21. So we played that until it got dark. And it was windy yesterday. Dude, the frisbee looked like a knuckleball coming at you because it would start here and it start doing this. And you're only standing like maybe 20 yards apart.
Yeah.
And the frisbee, first of all, their wing in the frisbee is hard. So your hands are taking a beating. And then on top of that, the wind is taking the frisbee like this, dude. And my my son-in-law, Josh, his 8-year-old son, Luke, has a master's degree in trash talking. So I had Luke on my team, and I was playing against my 2 son-in-laws. And every time I dropped the frisbee, he screamed, "Come on, Butterfingers. Oh, my goodness, I need a new teammate." I'm like, what? You threw the frisbee over in the neighbor's yard. What are you talking about?
He fits right in with you. That's good. Trash talking. That's good. I like it. By the way, what's up, everybody? I hope everybody's doing well out there. I can't pull you up in terms of the comments section because I'm on my laptop, not my desktop. So if Tone wants to pull up anything that he thinks is noteworthy,
all right.
Tone's got the freedom today. So feel free. But I see everybody. I see Jabari. I see Duck. I see Bean eating chicken. I see Adam. I see everybody. I see John. What's up, John? Yes, for those wondering, and Duck's asking too. Yeah, we are back at Panera today. And no, I have not seen any teenagers making out. So we're good. We're good. We're safe.
Fitness Rebel said, I made it on time today, Diga. Yes, you did. Well,
hi, Fitness Rebel.
Technically, Fitness Rebel, it says you checked in at 12:03.
Oh, look at you keeping track.
Well, since we didn't start until 12:02, I guess I have to give her the benefit of the
doubt. She definitely gets a pass. Fitness Rebel gets
we'll give her a pass today.
All right. 100% gets a pass. But yeah, no, all good, man. All good. It's a beautiful day out. It's gorgeous. And I'm it's nice where I'm at. It's like shady, so I'm not hot or anything like that. And I figured I'd put the backdrop this way rather than the street because it'd be distracting with all the cars riding past. So it's all good, man.
Oh, man, come on, man. The cars riding past is the ambiance, man.
All right, so that's what I'll do.
Yeah, you got to. Let's see the action behind you, man. Hopefully you don't see anybody streaking naked behind you. I don't know what kind of neighborhood you're in.
If we do, it's your fault. You asked for it, Derek. I'm blaming you.
It's YouTube, man. We can do anything we want on YouTube.
No, I hear you. So, big news yesterday. I was at the cookout and everybody, it's all we were talking about. Like everybody, what do you think? What do you think? Nick Nurse hired by the Sixers. Look, you know where I've been with this. It's been hard for me to get any kind of optimism going with this team right now. And I still sort of feel that way. But I will say he was my number one choice. I'm excited about him for a couple of reasons, Derek. And we're going to really get into him heavily at 1:00. By the way, we have Greg Cosell, phenomenal producer and film breakdown artist from NFL Films, who does an awesome job. He's going to be joining us at 12:30. So we'll get heavy into the Sixers at 1. But here's what I like. He holds guys accountable. He is not afraid to call somebody out. Now, he's not a maniac about it. He's not always doing it. He picks and chooses his spots. But I think this is something that, frankly, Joel Embiid needs, that this team needs. If James Harden is here next year, which I think this probably means he is, but I think it's a good thing that he does that. Because I think if you look at the last the two coaches Joel has had in his pro career, he's had Brett Brown and Doc Rivers, who are both players' coaches. And I think we're at that stage. And if it's something that really bothers him, then maybe it's time to move on. That's kind of where I'm at with it.
Yeah. When you put it like that, the one thing I'm thinking about as you're speaking is how will Joel receive it if Nick has to get in his grill? Will he rise to the challenge or will he shut down and pout about it? See, we don't know that because Joel has been treated with kid gloves his entire time here in Philadelphia. Some guys have thick enough skin to where, you challenge me, I'm going to answer your challenge. Other guys, curl up.
Yep.
In all sports. So it's a good hire, I think, in terms of a guy having a winning pedigree, knows how to get the max out of his talent. But what I don't like is this. What I read last night was, he was struggling between Phoenix and Philadelphia.
Yeah, they were the two it came down to, right? Yep.
And so it's believed that Philly won out because his relationship with Daryl Morey.
Yes.
Okay. And that they're both going to work in unison to try to get Harden to come back.
Mm-hmm. I know. And that was going to be like part 2. As much as I feel like he's probably the best fit here, Derek.
Yeah.
I can't get past the fact that this means Harden's back, and that just ruins it for me, frankly. Honest to God, it does.
Exactly.
And I say that knowing, it's going to be difficult because of the money situation to figure it out and all that. I get it. But still, to me, here's what I would hope that they would do, and I don't think this is what they're going to do. Let Harden walk, figure out a way to trade Tobias, which I think him going into the last year of that deal, I think is doable. I don't think it's easy, but it's doable.
Right.
In the process of doing that, utilize the funds that you have, the money that you have, and whomever you trade for Tobias to find that diamond in the rough, but also be able to figure out, get a real point guard in here. And not to say that Harden wasn't a good distributor. He was. He led the league in assists.
Right.
But get a distributor in here and try and strengthen yourself from a wing perspective. And it just feels like they're of the mindset that, now that Doc's out of here, we'll bring in Daryl Morey and we'll kind of run it back like it was all Doc Rivers, which is nonsense that it was all Doc Rivers. There's a ticker problem right here, man, with these guys, right there with these guys, and that's what worries me.
Yeah, you know what? It didn't work. It
Right.
worked to a certain point. Now you've got to change the complexion of this thing. And I think this fan base, for as passionate and as critical as they can be, will be a lot more forgiving if they see change. Because everybody in unison doesn't want to see Harden come back here. Mm-hmm. But all we keep hearing is that they're committed to bringing James Harden back. And Cal Bundy on our feed says, if Harden comes back, I'm not watching. And I'm sure a lot of people feel that way.
No, listen, and I get it, and I understand that sense. I think Adam's Exploits feels the same way. Like he said, he couldn't even watch the basketball last night because he's so frustrated with the Sixers. Here's what I think ends up happening. Like we all go through these frustration points with our teams. And I'm done, I'm out, all this other stuff. And I'm not doubting, the frustration with people. I think that once the season rolls back around, even if you're frustrated, it's hard to stay away as a fan. It really is. And I think people will come back, but I think it is a very difficult ask for this fan base to get excited about this team just because you've changed coaches and it's Nick Nurse as opposed to Doc Rivers. I think that's a really tough ask.
It is, but it seems like that's what they're going to ask us to do. And I wonder how it's going to affect attendance for games. I think initially people will come out just out of curiosity because it's a new season. But I think the crowd will ebb and flow as the season does. If they're winning, stands will be full. If they start going on a losing streak, seats are going to be empty. And that's not what they want, especially if you end up giving Harden that max contract. Now, you mentioned last week about if Harden comes back, try to get him at 2 years, $100 million. I don't think James Harden is going to settle for that because he's opting out to get that max contract, which is probably his last big contract. Well, more than likely he's 33 now. His last big contract in the NBA. So why would he give anybody a concession if he's opting out of the last year of a current contract? So that's what I'm saying is somebody's going to call the other one chicken. And I think it comes down to two things. Either the Sixers give him that 4-year max contract or he's going to go to Houston if what we're hearing is true that he wants to go back to Houston.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I keep going back and forth on this and trying to figure out whether or not this is him just essentially using Houston as leverage for the Sixers, or he's sincere about going back to Houston. Look, I think if it ended up that he sort of, really pushed the bluff hard with the Sixers, I don't think he would mind going back to Houston. I think that's a situation he'd be fine with. I can't see any other teams in the NBA willing to pony up 4 years, $200 million for him.
No.
I've been telling you this from the jump. I don't know why it makes sense for Houston either. But anyway, if it is Houston, okay, maybe because of his ties there to the city, they love him, etc. Maybe, but nowhere else. And this is where Daryl Morey can't be fooled by his, admiration for him, whatever we want to call this. And I just worry that he can't see clearly when it comes to James Harden. He doesn't make objective decisions.
The thing about Harden also, Rob, here's a guy who's never won an NBA title.
Nope.
He's been on a team that has gone to the playoffs consecutive years. Why would you want to go back to Houston where they're building from the bottom up? It's a young team. You would be the old man on a young team, the grandfather on an old team. Why would you want to go back there and start all over at that stage of your career? If you do that, that tells me it's about the money for you and not about trying to win that ring, because that's the bottom line. That's what it is.
Yeah.
You're not going to see a ring anywhere in your lifetime playing for Houston.
Yeah, if you're sincere, if you sincerely, your objective at this juncture in your career is to win a championship, it's not happening in Houston. If your objective is to make the most money you can make, okay, I mean, that's fine. You could probably make it there, or I mean, and again, I'm not even ripping him for this, but if you just love Houston, I know his mother makes her home there now. I know he's from California originally, but he loves Houston. Okay, fine. I mean, that's okay. I'm not shredding the guy for that. If that's what it is, it is. It's fine. It's a personal decision. But if winning supersedes everything else, he would want to be in Philadelphia.
No question about it. There's no question about it. Especially now that you have a coach with the pedigree of a Nick Nurse, who's a very defensive-minded coach as well. So that's one area I can't wait to see this team improve on is defense. But not knowing what this roster is going to look like going into the fall it makes you feel a little bit unsettled.
It does,
especially with the restraints they're under right now.
Yeah.
But I just hate to think that Harden's going to come back here, and I think Daryl Morey's going to buckle and give him that max contract because now you're stuck with him for 4 years instead of 2.
100%.
You know,
yep. I know. I feel the same way you feel for sure. Like I said, we'll lay out some of the things that Nurse does really well and some of the things that he struggled with in Toronto. But he does have ties to Daryl Morey. Daryl Morey hired him back in the day as one of Houston's G League coaches. So they do go back. And apparently, like you mentioned, this came down to 2 things: his relationship with Daryl Morey, and apparently he talked to Joel Embiid and really wants to coach Embiid. So it seems like he chose Embiid in this situation over Phoenix and, Kevin Durant and Devin Booker, which in and of itself says something, right? So I think that's interesting.
I don't know, man. I'm looking at the Phoenix Suns roster compared to the Sixers right now. And that roster in Phoenix, even though Phoenix only won 45 games compared to the Sixers winning 54, that roster looks to me a little bit more appealing than the 76ers roster right now. But
But the only problem is with that roster, Derek, is you get past Durant and Booker. There's not a lot, honestly.
Chris Paul's like 37.
And it's just a bunch of guys after that. And it's a bad contract for DeAndre Ayton. That's a bad deal. So anyway, but nonetheless. So there's that. And then how about last night, man? The Heat go in there and just lay a whooping on the Celtics. I mean, just put it on them in Game 7. This was such a weird series. I have never seen anything like it.
No, this is one of the strangest series I've ever seen, Rob. And in Boston, when you look back on it now, Boston should have won this series in 6 games.
Yeah.
If they had played like they played in games 3, 4, and 5, they should have won this series. Now, in games, technically, 4, 5, and 6. If they had played like they played 4, 5, and 6, they'd have won this series in 6 games. The fact that now Jason Tatum was a big loss when he tweaked that ankle on the first series of the game.
That was a huge
huge. But I don't even know if a healthy Jason Tatum could have saved this team, to be honest. Jaylen Brown was a no-show. Smart let him down.
Big time.
Everybody you can think of let this team down offensively. They were 9 for 42 from beyond the arc. And they kept shooting
threes. Just kept jacking up threes.
And dude, they had plenty of layups, and they would kick it back out again. Here's another. And Charles Barkley entertains me more so than informs me on his pre and post game shows.
He is wild, man.
But he brought up valid points about all these knuckleheads jacking up threes, and not just Boston and Miami, but across the league.
Yep.
Everybody thinks they're 3. He goes, you can take the layup every now and then. Every time Miami got a double-digit lead, and Boston would get it down to 6 or 7, I'm thinking, here they come. Here they come. And all of a sudden, Miami would hold them off and extend the lead again.
And hit a big shot. Like Caleb Martin was awesome. He should have
been MVP.
He should have been MVP. I sat there and I'm like, it's going to be Butler, but this dude, absolutely, he was phenomenal. And not just last night, the entire series, he was awesome.
Oh, there's no question about it. I mean, obviously he's overshadowed by, Jimmy Butler and, and Strus making big plays.
Yeah, Adebayo.
And Adebayo and Vincent.
He showed up last night. Yeah, Adebayo showed up last night.
Yeah. But you talk about the complete team effort. And I love Jimmy Butler's comment after the game where somebody asked him about role players. He goes, I don't look at them as role players. I look at them as teammates whose job it is every night is to change and to do the little things to help us win.
Right.
And I said, you know what? That's one of the best lines I've ever heard. I don't look at them as role players. I look at them as teammates.
Yeah.
As if to say, don't look at me. It's not just about me. Whether I'm the leading point scorer or not, it's not about me. It's about us. We didn't get here just because of me. We got here because of all these guys making the big shots, the big defensive stands when they had to. That's exactly what Miami is. Not a flashy team, not a star-studded team, but they are a complete team.
Yeah, and we keep talking about it, man. Culture matters. You're talking about a coach who's now in his 6th final, right? You're talking about Pat Riley, who's been doing this now, Derek, for the better part of 40 years. Whether it was the Lakers, whether it was the Knicks, now it's the Heat, whether he's coaching or whether he's the architect of it. You're talking about winners. These guys are winners. And this is the thing that, to get back to the Sixers for 1 second here, that they've failed to establish is a culture. I don't know what the Sixers stand for, So it's not a coincidence, man. And they had more heart than the Heat, bottom line. Just more, than the Celtics, excuse me. Way more heart, bottom line.
You go into Boston tied 3-3, and especially after the way they lost Game 6, Derek White on the follow-up with a fraction of a second left. You're thinking Miami's going to be demoralized, knowing they got to go in the enemy's house and play this 7th and deciding game, and they went in there and played like it was on their home court from start to finish.
Yep.
Nothing rattles this team, and I'm gonna enjoy watching this Miami-Denver series.
Me too.
Two completely different styles of play. And Miami is not going to back down. Denver is a sharpshooting team. Miami's just these junkyard dogs that do what they have to do to get the job done. I think it's going to be a great series, to be honest.
Yeah, no, I do too. And people writing off the Heat, like, how do you keep writing them off? They were heavy underdogs in this game, and they win the game outright. I saw this earlier. They're minus 360 going into this series. So nobody's giving them any, which is perfect. I'm sure Spoelstra's telling them that right now. So it's absolutely the way it should be. It's let them keep being underdogs and everybody keep doubting them. But I can't wait. And the beauty is, because this thing went 7, we got a game in 2 nights. We got a game Thursday night, game 1. So that's exciting. The Golden Knights finished off the Dallas Stars last night, Derek. So we know who's in the Stanley Cup Finals. We got the Golden Knights and the Panthers. Panthers been waiting I think it's going to be a 9-day layoff for them. Same with the Nuggets, really long layoff. I'm telling you, man, I truly believe that it's more of an advantage, even though these teams are a little bit more banged up, to just keep it rolling.
Right.
For these teams. So.
Sometimes, people keep talking about there's an advantage when you have an extended rest. Yes, but there's also the possibility you come out rusty.
Yep.
When you're a team like Miami playing on short rest, even though you're nicked up, you're banged up, you're hurting, you're still in it. You're still in a groove. You still have that mojo going. You don't want extended rest off. This is a Miami team that knocked out the number 1 seed Milwaukee and now the number 2 seed Boston. They want to keep playing. They don't want to slow down. They don't want to stop. So it's going to be interesting to see who has the momentum. We know Denver has the home court edge. Well, so did Boston, so did Milwaukee. How did that play out for both of those teams? I think it's going to be a great series. I really do.
Yeah, no, I do as well, man. So we had that. We had the Phillies splitting over the weekend in Atlanta. The shame of it, Derek, is if nobody's thrilled with a split, but if you had started the season off well and you get a split in Atlanta, it's not bad. Considering how well that they've played this year. The problem is, when you're digging yourself out of a hole like the Phillies are, you're left unsatisfied, and they also got hammered on Sunday night. And Dylan Covey couldn't get out of the first inning, and had a historically bad game. And you just realize they do have some serious starting pitching issues. But there were some positives to come out of it. Wheeler looked great on Saturday. He looked like Zach Wheeler again.
He was dealing, yeah.
I thought they played a really complete game on Friday as well. Yes. It's a shame they sandwiched 2 kind of crappy efforts with 2 really good ones in the middle. And I'll tell you what, big series, man. The Mets tonight, big one.
And then Kimbrel gets his 400th career save.
Yeah, in front of all his folks,
of only 8 people who ever do that in the history of the major leagues that have 400 or more saves. So kudos to him. I look at it like this, Rob. The way the Phillies have played this season, getting a split in Atlanta was a win. It was a win. You didn't gain any ground, but you didn't lose any ground. You very easily could have gone down there, lost 3 out of 4, or lost all 4. At least you managed to split out of there in Atlanta the way you've been playing now. Hopefully they can build on that. The Mets right now are a 500 team. They've scored more runs than the Phillies, but they're not playing the type of ball we thought they would be playing at this point of a season. Why can't they go into New York and take 2 out of 3 from them?
Yeah, I hear you. And look, tonight's huge because you have Ranger Suarez on the mound, and he hasn't looked like himself. That's for sure. And he's looked like a shell of himself. So if he starts to show you that he's finding his footing a little bit here, then all of a sudden, you feel good about your top 3, and then you figure it out from there. And Taijuan Walker, by the way, was the one who pitched on Friday in Atlanta and looked good. So if the starters kind of get their act together, the bullpen's been fine. I have no worries, whatsoever about the bullpen. So, all right, let's hit it, Derek. Let's come back and we'll talk to Greg Cosell from NFL Films. We'll get his thoughts on the Eagles draft. We'll get his thoughts on the roster, their chances this year, and we'll jump around the league. You know, there's a lot to talk to Greg about because he covers it all, not just the Eagles, the entire NFL. So looking forward to hanging out with him, and we'll do that when we come back. He is D-Gun. I am Rob Ellis. We are Sports Take, JAKIB Sports YouTube Network. All right, let's talk about Bravo Pizza. Bravo Pizza, the place I've been going to since I was a little kid. They've been family owned since 1985. You got Alex and the crew each and every day putting out the best fresh food in the business. They have 20 different styles of pizza. They also have the you name it, we'll make it. You call up, request a certain kind of pizza, and they will put that together, which is the great thing there when it comes to Bravo Pizza. They also, it's not just pizza. Well, by the way, they have slices as well, but it's not just pizza. It is fresh sandwiches. It is salads. It's wraps. It's wings. It's everything you could possibly want and then some. And they're also great in the community. They have fundraisers all the time for schools, for little leagues, for different organizations, including the Eagles Autism Challenge, which they donated to and raised money to a couple weeks ago. So look, this is the place you want to be. And they are in the Manoa Shopping Center in Havertown, Pennsylvania, at 1345 Westchester Pike, Manoa Shopping Center in Havertown, Pennsylvania. Give them a call, 610-446-3810, 610-446-3810.